What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So the other day I was talking to you guys about fear and things like that, and there's a couple of people who share the same fears when it comes to flying, and I just want to give you guys a few of my tips. I don't remember if I've talked about this in the past or if I've done a video about this, but here's another one. So with me, I personally have a fear of flying. Now, over time, it has gotten better, but I still get the jitters whenever I get ready to fly somewhere. And, you know, I have learned a few things, a few techniques, and a few tips along the way. I have talked to a few people, even stewardess who, you know, give advice and things like that. So I just want to share a few tips. Scarlo's fear of flying tips, if you want to call it. They're not many because, in all honesty, everyone is different. Everyone deals with flying differently. Everyone deals with anxiety differently. So one of the main reasons why people are scared to fly is because they have no control over their surroundings, right? When you're in a car, you have full control over where you're going, the steering wheel, how you're turning. You have full control because you are the one behind the wheel. When you get on a plane, it is just you sitting down in the seat, and you have to put all of your trust into the pilot and the stewardess, correct? So with that being said, you don't know what's going on in the front. You don't know if, and these are the things that I am almost positive that a lot of people who have fear of flying think about. They think about, well, what if something's wrong, but the stewardess are putting on a face just not to worry the passengers, or what if they're going through something and we don't know about it, you know? And it's one of those things where you have to really do your research, because flying is one of the safest ways to travel, right? And over time, I have had to really dig deep to understand this and believe this, because as a nervous flyer and someone who deals with anxiety outside of that, it's not an easy thing to do. It really isn't. So you've got to understand that there's this program called SOAR. Now, if any of you have a fear of flying and you ever did any research, maybe you have come across it. So SOAR is instructed by a gentleman who, if I'm not mistaken, he was a psychologist who turned into a pilot, or the other way around. In any case, he has this program called SOAR, which he digs really, really deep into why people have a fear of flying. He goes into the psychological reasons why people are scared, and, you know, he addresses all the hard questions. And I'm scared because I think this plane is going to crash. I'm scared because I think something is going to go wrong. You know, and he addresses every possible thing that you can think of. And then he gets into the mechanics of a plane. He gets into how the plane has like 3 or 4 backups. Like literally, if one goes, there are 3 or 4 other backups. So it's almost unlikely that you will ever experience anything bad happening. And the thing that people are scared of the most is turbulence. I personally don't like turbulence, and I'm a fearful flyer. Now, I have been on flights where it has been smooth like butter, and despite my fear of flying, I have felt absolutely great on these flights. It was comforting. I was able to even doze off at one point. I had gotten over my fear of flying so much so that I went from being one of those fearful flyers where I could be on a 3-hour flight and I would not take my seatbelt off. I wouldn't use the bathroom. I wouldn't go to sleep. I wouldn't listen to music. I remember flying with my dad one day years ago to go see my grandmother, and it was the first time I had been on a plane in 15 years. And I'm going on 39. And I was literally holding on to his arm the entire flight to Puerto Rico. And that's a 3.5-hour flight. That's nothing. But I remember being so scared. And the reason why I hadn't been on a flight in 15 years is because of my fear. And I kicked myself in the butt so much because that particular year that I went to go see my grandmother, she had passed away the same year. And I told myself, I need to get over my fear, because my fear of flying has cost me 15 years worth of visits that I could have made to go see my grandmother, to spend time with family, to see different parts of the world. And that's why I tell you guys that it's so important for you to understand what your fears are and do what you possibly can to get through them, because the last thing that you want to do is allow your fears to take hold of your life and take away everything that this life has to offer you. You have absolutely no idea what's beyond your fears. You could be traveling the world. Hell, you could become a pilot yourself. You never know. You know, it's really, really important for you to face your fears, to understand them, to know your triggers, and to do everything possible to get over them, because you don't want to live this life with regrets. I regretted wasting 15 years of not being able to see my grandmother, to finally seeing her and remembering her and being able to see her smile and laugh, and that being that last time that I saw her, when I could have had more time. But because I was so fearful of flying and I had anxiety, I didn't get back on a plane. So I still am a fearful flyer. I really am. I don't like takeoff. I don't mind landing. I don't like takeoff, and I don't like turbulence. Now, I have done so much research when going back to this program called SOAR. I get emails all the time, and there's newsletters that go out, and I think they're even doing Zoom calls now where they're just doing little programs that people can kind of join in. And you know, the guy talks about the mechanics of a plane and what the noises mean and what it means when the plane goes up and down and what happens when you're in the air. I mean, he is so in depth that is the reason why I have continued to fly and done my best to try to get over my fear of flying. I remember going a couple of years, you know, to different trips. And I remember this one year, the flight back was the worst that I ever had, and I'll tell you why. But the flight there, I went to the Dominican Republic, and it was probably the absolute best experience I ever had, because not only did I feel more excited than anxious, but I felt like I was finally conquering my fear of flying. And DR is almost like going to Puerto Rico. I believe it's like 3 hours or 3.5 hours. So going there, I mean, this was at the point where I had flown a couple of times already. This is the last time that I had gotten on a flight before I got on a flight last year to Florida. And I remember, I mean, I was listening to music. I was just thinking, I kept in mind, and this is one of the tips, try to visualize your destination, where you're going, how you're going to feel when you get there. What are you going to eat when you get there? The food that you're going to experience, the people that you're going to see, you know, the feeling that you have of being in a new place, you know, and being on vacation or being away from home or whatever the case may be. So I was thinking about what I was going to be experiencing when I got there. And I thought about the ocean and the palm trees and the hotel and the food. And I'm listening to music that made me dance in my seat. And I got up a couple of times to go to the bathroom, and I took my seatbelt off, and I even went to sleep at one point. I was so comfortable, and the ride was so smooth. I was so relaxed, and I was so proud of myself. But on the way back, it was the worst, because our flight got delayed. Delayed to the point where we were still already supposed to be back at the U.S. I want to say maybe like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We left DR at 4 in the morning. I had caught a cold while I was out there. And on the flight back, it seemed like it was a little longer. And the whole flight back, there was turbulence. And I mean, for me, with my experience, it was the worst turbulence I have ever experienced. I mean, like, you know, the liquids in the cups were shaking, and I couldn't go to sleep, and my anxiety was high. And at that time, I had taken a Xanax to go get on a flight. It wore off. Like, I felt like I didn't even take anything. It was just the worst. So then last year, as you guys know, if you don't know, go look back at my videos. I did a vlog because for the first time in my entire life, I got on a flight by myself. And I was so proud of myself afterwards because I conquered something that I told myself I would never do. And it was a smooth ride, little bit of turbulence, but for the most part, I was fine. I was comfortable. I was good. I was listening to music. I was good, and I was happy, and I was proud of myself. So very soon I'll be taking one of the longest flights I've ever been on, and I've been preparing for it. And the flight is going to be about 5.5 hours, probably almost 6. I'm not going to tell you guys where I'm going, but I have been preparing myself. So, with that being said, a few tips that I want to share with you guys is, number one, picture where you're going. Think about your destination. Think about the food. Think about the people. Think about the great time that you're going to have. Another thing that I personally do myself, I don't consume caffeine the day before and the day of. I don't consume any caffeine because I know that even though I don't go through anxiety the way I used to, it can trigger it like that. And caffeine is not it when it comes to anxiety and when it comes to, especially if you're a fearful flyer, the last thing that you want is to have the jitters on top of having the jitters. So stay away from caffeine. Don't eat anything heavy, especially late at night, because you want to have a good night's rest. You want to be able to get in bed on time. You want to have a good amount of sleep and be well rested for your trip the following day. So try not to eat very late because it's going to take a while for your body to digest it. Eat light. If you need to eat something later on, have an apple and peanut butter, have some tea, have one piece of toast if you have to. Have something extremely light. Don't go heavy with anything. Once you are at the airport, once you are, past security and all of that, make sure that you grab yourself a bottle of water, because when you are nervous, your body tends to overwork itself. You can be dehydrated, and that can also continue to give you jitters. So make sure that you are carrying a bottle of water with you. Make sure you put something in your stomach that morning. No caffeine, but a plain bagel, some toast, maybe some orange juice. But definitely put something in your stomach, because you definitely don't want to feel crappy and anxious while you're on a long flight. Another thing that I always prepare for, I always have my headphones, bring a good book, make sure that your phone is charged. I don't have a portable charger, but it's a great idea to have a portable charger, because if you're on a long flight and your battery life tends to die out quickly, you want to be able to listen to whatever you're listening to, whether it's meditation music, or whether you're reading a book on your phone, or whether you're downloading shows. I apologize for the house alarm. But that's another tip. Give yourself something to do while you're on the flight. Also, other things that comfort me is bringing a blanket with me and a travel pillow. You want to be able to be as comfortable as possible, because for however long your flight is, that seat is your home for the moment. So you want to be as comfortable as possible. So definitely bring that. Definitely, do whatever it is that you can to make sure that you are absolutely comfortable wherever it is that you are going, and enjoy it. I have put myself in a mindset to want to enjoy everything, from the ride to the airport, to sitting at the airport, to watching the planes come and go. Give yourself ample time to sit for a while and to get used to your surroundings. Because another thing that you don't want to do if you're an anxious flyer is get there late, have to rush, be worried that you're going to miss your flight. Those are things that can absolutely stress you out on the day that you fly. So you don't want to do that. Get there really, really early. Even if you're sitting there for an hour, that's okay. Give yourself that 1 hour to relax, listening to music, meditate, relax, take a cat nap, whatever it is that you do. But do it so that you are absolutely prepared and you're relaxed and you're at ease. And once you get on that flight, you're good, you're relaxed. Once you get in your seat, make sure that you make yourself comfortable. Get yourself familiar with where you're sitting. Look around, see if you have anybody that sits next to you. Say hello to the crew members, say hello to the pilot. familiarize yourself with your atmosphere, because that's where you're going to be for whether it's 2 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, that's where you are. So make yourself comfortable, relax. Everything is going to be fine, you know. But definitely do your research. There's so much information out there, so many tips that you can find. But yeah, so with that being said, leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys experienced fear of flying, if you enjoyed these tips, and if you have any tips that you can give someone out there who needs them. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!